Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. I hope you had a great day. Today we are looking at some new malicious compliance stories. I hope you enjoy them. The first story is called No Grass Signs. A family friend lives in a neighborhood with an HOA. They are not horrible, but they are prickly at times. One year he hosted a large birthday party and put some temporary signs up. These were for things like what side of the street to park on, where his house was when the party ends, and to come to the backyard instead of in the house. He had approval for the party and a paperwork trail of conversations going back a month. Imagine his surprise when a few days later he gets a $200 fine for those road signs. He contacts the HOA to complain, but he gets stonewalled. As he pays the fine, the guy at the desk says the worst thing. Next time, read the rules. That ticked him off as he made an effort to follow the rules. The day after, he reads the rules and there's a sentence about all grass signs. Clearly, it's intended to keep those political signs away, but nowhere does it say no political signs. He takes some time and gets his plan together. He buys some political signs for the local city council members and judges he supports that are up for election. He then tapes them against his car windows so they are on the inside pointing out. For good measure, he added some bumper stickers for whatever he could find in an evening. Every so often, he keeps his car at the end of his driveway so all driving into the complex can see it. As he put it, it's a petty rebellion, but a rebellion nonetheless. The next story is called Whatever It Is, Do It Yourself. This happened outside of the US. My parents had an unusual relationship. He treated her like crap ever since I can remember. He didn't even bother to hide his affairs while she was around. On one occasion, I saw one of his flirty texts sent to a girl on his phone. Due to my mother's meek nature, he thought she wouldn't do anything against him, but he underestimated her. My father's new girlfriend lived a few hours away, so he calls her all the time. It was at that time that he was looking for an apartment and found one in the city. The builders scheduled an appointment with him to settle the final payment and to give over the keys to the apartment. Fate it may be, he was in one of those romantic moods on that day and wants to just stay home and call his sweetheart. So he sent my mother to the builder with the money. When she reached the office, she was informed that the builders also intended to give over the ownership documents along with the key the same day, which I forgot to mention. Father wanted the apartment for himself. So as any obedient wife would do, Mother called him and asked him to come over to the office to sign a document. He rudely told her to get off the phone and whatever it is, do it yourself and get the key. My mother, who had enough with him, had a sinister idea at the moment and hung up the call. She signed the ownership documents under her name and got the key. The builders didn't think anything of it because she was his wife. She also made a duplicate of that key without my father's knowledge and kept it for herself. My father had no idea what was going on as he was busy with his girlfriends. He always sent my mother to the new apartment to clean it up and furnish it. Not long after that, my parents divorced, and it was at that time that my father asked her for the documents to the apartment. She just replied, "Why should I give documents of my apartment to you?" My father was shocked when she explained she signed the ownership documents under her name on the day and she is the legal owner of the apartment. All thanks to his girlfriend. The third story is called Robocallers. This was a couple of years ago. I worked front desk at a busy spa and had worked here for 5 years at this point. The last few months or so we were getting these random robocalls where we would pick up the phone and get an insanely loud beep in our ear and nothing else. This beep was so loud it made our ears ring. We couldn't block the number since the number always changed. But we at least had caller display and these specific robocalls always had a long number that started with an R. We would get about 10 a day for a few days in a row, then nothing for a month or so. When the phone would ring, we would wait a second for the caller display to come up. And if we saw the robo number, we would pick up, then immediately hang up. One of the owners saw us do this. I completely realized how it looks, but we explained to her what was going on and why we were doing it. phrasing it as freeing up the phone lines for actual clients. She replied that she understood, but that we should never just hang up the phone without checking, in case it ever was a client, regardless of the caller display. I was decently annoyed by this. This is the third spa I worked in, and I thought she trusted us more than to risk just insta-hanging up on a client, but whatever. She signs my paychecks. Fast forward just a couple of hours. I was by myself on the desk and on another call when the other line started ringing. The owner came by and looked at me to see if I wanted her to answer it. I looked at the caller display, saw it was the robocaller, and told her, yes please. Could I have told her it was the robocaller? Absolutely. However, I had specifically been told we always answer the phone just in case. So telling her it was the robocaller should not have mattered. Just doing my job and earning that signature on my paycheck. The owner picks up the phone and says, thank you for calling, before yanking the phone away from her ear and cringing as we all heard the loudest, most obnoxious beep coming from the receiver. She slams the phone down and looks at it like it slapped her and called her mommy. She turns and looks at me, says, geez, that was loud, while I just slowly nodded in response. She walked away, shaking her head and rubbing her ear. A little later in the evening, I was doing the closing paperwork and she was standing at the desk waiting for a client. The phone rang, checked the caller display, robocaller. She looked at me, I looked at her. I picked it up and immediately hung up. She just nodded slowly and went back to her phone. Occasionally to this day, she and the other owner forget to check the caller ID and get a rude reminder of why we check the caller ID. I hope you enjoyed today's video so far. If you want more content, please subscribe to the channel. And if you like the video, don't forget to press the like button. It really helps. And now, onto the last story. The last story is called Can't Call in Sick. So this happened to me a while ago when I worked at a fast food restaurant in the UK. Being an eating establishment, hygiene is very important, as you can imagine. The policy when I started there was that if you were sick, you had to have 48 hours off from the time you call in sick to ensure that you are better for returning to work, so you don't poison your customers. Makes sense, right? I'm ill, I'm handling food, I'm going to get others sick. I'm not feeling great at all this shift. I was feeling a little off in the morning, but thought I might be able to get better by the evening when my shift is. Over the day, I started to get a cough, fever, runny and blocked nose, headache, full on cold. The policy also states that if you are going to call in sick, it should be no later than 2 hours before your shift starts. Fair enough. It gets to 2 hours before my small 4-hour shift and I feel dreadful. So I call up the manager on the shift that day. Hi manager, I feel awful. I shouldn't be working today. You can't be sick. We need you in today. I really am not well. I'm coughing and my nose is running everywhere. I've already had 3 people call in sick for today, so you need to be here. See you in a couple of hours. And he just hung up. So here I am, dripping with sweat, looking like death could take me at any moment. With a small smirk on my face, I think, okay, guess I'm going to work tonight. I proceed to get ready, get in the car and drive to work. Now there's no back door for employees to slip into this place. So we have to use the main entrance and walk through the dining area to go into the back of the kitchen. So step 1, make sure I am seen by as many people as possible looking like something out of a horror movie. I shamble through the front door, making sure to have a fit of coughing, complete in my uniform so other customers can see I am unwell. I make sure to wave and say hi to my colleagues on the counter in the huskiest voice I have before running through to the door that leads to the kitchen. At this point, I would like to say that I was in fact very sick that day and I should not have been working. But I wanted to teach my boss a lesson, so I might have exaggerated my symptoms just a little bit to make sure the point stuck. I make it to the break room where 2 of my crewmates are, and immediately both asked if I'm feeling alright. I tell them no, but I have a point to prove, which is why I'm here. I check the rota in the break room, and bingo. I'm on the register, front of the house, everyone can see me. This is perfect for step 2. ensure each person I serve questions if I'm fit to work. I wander through the kitchen to the register and start working. My first customer places an order and they look a little wary. I get them their food, they go and sit down to start eating. My boss has seen this exchange and you can see the gears turning in his head. Can't be having a zombie serving food. I know, let's put them in the kitchen where they can't be seen. I get told to swap with a person who is working the grill, so yes, I am no longer seen by anyone. But they have moved me from working with wrapped food, which I couldn't contaminate, to working with creating the food from scratch. Great idea there, boss. For your interest, I never intentionally poisoned someone's food. I was trying to be very good and stepped out of the kitchen every time I needed to cough and blow my nose, washed my hands and then got back to it. I have been working for an hour or so now, still free to go, and by this point I'm feeling lightheaded and unable to focus on what I'm doing. I'm not exaggerating anymore, I'm not good at all. It's not very busy, so I'm just trying to keep myself on my feet. In walks the night manager, who happens to be the acting store manager too. Evening. I grunt and sniff. Are you feeling alright? I slowly shake my head. Why didn't you call in sick? I did. I was told that others had already called in sick, so I had to be here. She looks around at the pretty empty restaurant and plenty of staff, including the manager who had me come in, sitting in the dining area pretending to look busy while being on his phone. Clock out, go home, get better, and don't worry about your shifts for the next 2 days. I nod, and just before I go to get my stuff, I see her storm to the manager in the break area before dragging him into the office. I go back to work after a couple of days, like I was told, feeling 100%. I'm greeted by the night manager who checks on me, which I'm grateful for. I start to work and get caught up on the workplace gossip. Turns out the manager who made me work that day was given a right bollocking that night and he turned in his resignation the next day, or so the rumor goes. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.